Namaste and Radhe Radhe. I would like to congratulate Love to Share Foundation for choosing this very important topic and spread the lovely values which are encompassed in this wonderful field of study called the compassionate communication. And communication, as you know, is something which is, I think, one of the major drivers of effective and cordial relationships, whether it is within the family or at workplace or in the society. And so I think it's vital that we understand the basic philosophy, the basic pillars of how we express or we manifest that compassion, which is our true nature, in our actions, in our words, and hence our behaviors. So as humans, it is our nature, it is our dharma. Dharma has two meanings. Dharma also means innate nature, and dharma also means a set of values and a set of practices which will help us to actualize our true potential. So as humans, we are basically compassionate. And the trick is to actually manifest that potential, you see. The potential compassion, which is our true nature, needs to manifest itself in our actions, in our words, in our way we emote and behave with others, isn't it? So I think one of the, I wouldn't say even one, the module or the field of education which has certainly shaped the way in which me as a speaker has seen how we interact with people, how we empower people. If you want to pick one vital topic which positively shaped the way in which we dealt with people or we saw people, is this compassionate communication. And it's very close to my heart, and I was so happy to see that Love to Share Foundation has picked this up to cascade its wonderful principles. The principles are pretty universal, obviously. It's so universal that in one of the books, which has been revealed by a great sage who had the love to share the secrets of happy life, it's called Bhagavatam. In that you have 4 words. You see that in one of the kings, when he invites 4 very wise young men, timeless sages, the Sanakadi rishis, the king is the one whom we owe the name of this earth itself. His name is Prithu. And he speaks so sweetly that the narrator says that his speech is perfect, and it has 4 elements in it: Saram, Sushtu, Mitam, Madhu. You see, Saram means it has tremendous power of serious import in it. It's not just a frivolous, flowery, frothy speech. Saram, it is filled with essence, which means you can't take anything out. You don't need to add anything in the way of speech of that king called Prithu. And Sushtu is very pleasing. And Mitam means it's neither too long nor too short. It's of the right size. And Madhu, because it is very sweet and nectarine. Today you will find something very interesting which just struck me. You're going to see 4 aspects of communication. And obviously it's not a surprise that these 4 aspects of communication, which is how we observe and how we convey our feelings, and how we convey our needs, and how we convey our request. These 4 actually corresponds to these 4 wonderful values shown in Bhagavatam, which is Saram, Sushtu, Mitam, and Madhu. So that's the beauty, that's the universality of the course which you're going to see, today. And the base for this entire communication is the first module. And I would urge all of you to pay extra attention to it. When I say pay extra attention to it, I meant in the sense, how do I apply it better in my life, especially with the interactions I have with my loved ones, maybe my, my child or my parent or my, spouse, somebody who is very important for my happiness in my life. And it's a known fact that relationships are the major contributors to our happiness. And so I think the first pillar of this compassionate communication can truly transform each of us. Am I observing, and am I not mixing evaluation in my observation, or am I evaluating and passing it off as an observation? You see, these are just words to you right now, but as you go through the course, I'm sure you'll understand the ecosystem behind all these words now. So that's the first wonderful module. How do I observe without evaluating? And being at the feet of such a wonderful master for the past 3 decades, I've actually now started observing how naturally for such great jnanis, for such great Mahatmas, compassion is obviously oozing out from their every pore. Their actions, their words and behaviors seems to be textbook examples for what we are going to learn today. You see, that's what I realized. At times, some very beautiful, some very fine stuff of our life can escape our attention if if you are not alert to it, you see. And I found this wonderful body of knowledge called nonviolent communication or compassionate communication as a great tool to appreciate, relish, and celebrate what has been bestowed to me as a person in form of being a servant and a disciple of a great master. It's that critical, you see. So it's not just something which I do for my day-to-day practical life or vyavaharam. It's something as deep as my spiritual core. So that's how important I think this body of knowledge is. Because it's not just how do I communicate, how do I talk, or how do I get my things done. It's actually a fresh way of looking at what happens around us. It's a fresh way of looking at relationships. It is a fresh way of looking at how I see the world and how I try to communicate what I see, you see? And that's how beautiful it is. So the first step is beautiful, observation and evaluation. Spend some time, mull over it. And it is just a primer which we are going to take you through. Maybe as we go further, we can become better selves as we go deeper into one of those 4 wonderful pillars. The second pillar is also beautiful, feelings. And it is very intricately related to needs. And we believe as Sanatana Dharmis that creation has come from perfection. It's not an accident. We certainly subscribe to design theory, whether we get taught in our high schools, where we go, in US or not. It is somehow ingrained in us. And I think more we go deeper into such topics, more conviction we have in this wonderful principle that everything has a purpose, everything is designed well. And one of the wake-up moments for me was in realizing that all feelings have value, whether we so-called like it or so-called dislike it, or whether we label it within inverted commas, or what do we call within quotes, positive feelings or negative feelings. Every feeling has a purpose. It has been put in place by our creator for a purpose. And the purpose is to highlight the underlying need. When the needs are met, we understand that the feelings are generally positive. When the needs are not met, we see that the feelings are not so positive. And so that's a wonderful, very obvious, but as I said, if you're not alert, we miss a lot of obvious things in life. And me personally did miss this. After I went through this course, I truly realized how simple, how beautiful, how meaningful our existence is when it comes to feelings and, of course, needs also. And then the final pillar is request. And there is an art of requesting, you see. And that completes this wonderful communication, which rises out of compassion. And I think it would be a very useful few hours for our lives if we can somehow embrace it and look at ways and means to apply it and experiment it. You see, we can experiment it. We can discover more about ourselves. And I like one simile given by this great philosopher whom I said I adored, even though he doesn't speak my language. I loved just the title he gave for one of his talks. About 80% of what he spoke is pretty much difficult to grasp by me. But the title which he gave was a revelation in itself. The title was The Mirror of Relationships. You see, that title itself spoke volumes to me. And more I started meditating on the title, I got a lot of answers from it. Every relationship, every interaction we have with people around us is actually a mirror which reflects what we are, a mirror which reflects what we truly believe in, and a mirror which reflects in how deft, how competent we are in managing relationships. So there is no other here. It's all holding up a mirror, right? Relationship is holding up a mirror to ourselves. And the beauty of this wonderful simile can be only shown by people who have realized, I guess. In just 3 words, he has summed up a great life secret that every relationship holds up a mirror. Are we intelligent enough to work on the actual person standing before the mirror? Or are we busy trying to change the image which we see in the mirror without changing the person who is standing before the mirror? You see? And that's why it's called mirror of relationships. And I guess a compassionate communication course, which I went through, there are about 70 slides. And the persons who have actually put this together have really applied their mind, heart, and they have made it very beautiful, very aesthetic, and have not missed even the smallest point, which I thought would be very important to share. And they did a perfect job there. So I think we are all very fortunate to have been given an opportunity to think about and hopefully to apply these simple principles which can enhance our happiness and success in life. This wonderful module of compassionate communication is God sent. And I think it's now in our hands to try to aspire to understand it better and enhance our conviction in the system. And the final block is obviously to go apply it and realize the fruits ourselves, so that I can be a better me, you can be a better you, and together we can elevate our group which we volunteer for and we serve. And wish you all happy learning, happy application, and hence happier lives. Radhe Radhe.